welcome back to the channel. And today we're working on this. This is my 2015 London black cab. For those of you who don't know me, being a London black cab driver is my proper job, if you like. And obviously being with the pandemic and whatever else, there hasn't really been much trade out there up until now. So I haven't been out in a cab for a long while. This cab I actually bought in the middle of the pandemic. Took a bit of a gamble, and it hasn't actually been used as a cab by me until now, hopefully. So all I've used it for is taking my mountain bike out and going on rides, and that's about it. So we need to do a few jobs on it to get it to where I want it to be when I go back to work. First thing will be a USB 12-volt socket. Second thing will be a phone holder. Third thing will be front and rear dash cams, and we need to give it a real nice clean and machine polish and wax to get it looking top notch. So we'll probably start off with the 12-volt socket. Let's get a camera set up inside and I'll show you what we're going to do. Rightio, as you can see here, we have got a 12-volt socket already in the cab. This one's over here, but I want to put in a USB socket as well, because this one I usually use for powering the camera for the front and rear dash cams, and on my old cab I had another one here which powered my phone. So I don't know if there's wiring underneath here for a second socket or whether I've got to wire it in. So that's going to be the first job, is to take this cover off or take this surround off and see what's underneath, and if we can just borrow a plug that's already there with power on it, that'd be great. That'd be the ideal scenario. If not, then we may have to do a little bit of wiring. So I'm going to pop this off. It's not held in with much from memory. I think under here there's a couple of screws behind like a cover, and then the whole thing lifts out, so it's not much holding it in. I think there's a, yeah, I'll have a little look and I'll come back to you in a second. Okay, we're in the driver's footwell. First thing I'm going to take off is this carpet side, because they're only held in with self tappers. They're quite easy to get off. That will allow me access underneath this panel rather than taking off the dash panel, and hopefully we'll be able to see what's underneath there as far as any wiring. So I'm going to whip that off and I'll come back to you in a second. Okay, I took the driver's side one off and could see absolutely nothing. So we're going to take the passenger one off, which is a lot easier. You've got a load of self-tapping screws around the edge of this. I'll whip that off and then we'll have a look, see what we can see underneath there for wiring. Look at the state of that, look. That's where they put in all the card machine and whatever else. What an absolute mess of wiring. I'm going to do my best to ignore that, because otherwise it will drive my OCD-ness mental. So what we're looking for, you can see under here is the wiring for the plug for the existing 12-volt socket. You can just about see it under there, the white plug there, and as luck would have it, spurred off of that bit of wiring is another plug. So we have struck gold. So hopefully we may not be able to use that connector, because obviously it's a funny shaped connector. In fact, we might even just be able to cut the you see it's got this little middle sort of tab in the middle there which holds the two bits together at that funny angle. If we cut that, that will then just give us two spade terminals which we can use to go onto the back of my new 12-volt socket, which I've got here. This is off of Amazon. I've used this one in my old cab as well. It's a good little socket. It does come with wiring and a fuse, but obviously if we can do it without and use the existing wiring, then it'll be even better. All it's got on there is two spade terminals. And it's got two sockets on this side for charging, and it lights up and all the rest of it, which is quite good. So it was about a tenner off of Amazon, so it's not a lot of money. So yeah, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to cut that plug I just showed you, and we'll see if we can just use those spade terminals. In fact, let me stand you there in a second, like that, and we'll see if that spade fits onto this, and if it doesn't, then we'll just put the two new spades on the end of it. But if it does, that'd be right handy. It doesn't, yeah, it does go on there. It's the right size. It wants a little bit of persuasion, I think, but let me get these two so they're separated. I'll get a blade and run it down there. You can see it's joined all the way down that side there, and then it's got that little triangular piece in the middle there. So we'll get that cut and I'll come back to you in a second. Right, what we've got here is an old bike cable which I've got. When I thread all that through this hole, hopefully it will come out the other side, and then we can pull the wires through, because seems to be a bit tricky to get the wires through. Well, there's that through there, so that's good. You can see both ends of it now. We'll get the wire, tape it to the end of this. I've cut it, as you can see there, I've cut it into two, so we've just got two spade terminals now. They fit on the socket lovely, so that's good. Get a bit of electrical tape. We will wrap it round it, so hopefully it won't pull off when I put it through the hole, and we should be good to go to plug it in with any luck. Now the only other thing I've got to do is get behind this hole to tighten up the collar on the socket. Not quite sure I'm going to do that yet. May have to take this other side back off again and see if I can winkle my hand in there. I couldn't see any wiring from the driver's side footwell, but it may be enough room to actually just tighten that little twisty collar up on the back of it. Right, so we tape that around there. Hopefully it won't pull off because there's a little end on this cable. Obviously where you have your brake lever on your bike, it should hopefully prevent it from pulling off. So hopefully that will pull through. Any luck. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. Not sure which way around it's got to go around. There's like a little sort of, you can see here, there's like a little tray which is kind of gets in the way of it, its route a little bit, and that single cable fits through all right, but the wiring actually is a bit more tricky to get through, which is why I thought I'd do it this way. Whether it's going to work or not, we shall find out in a second. Hold the line, caller. So much wiring and stuff in this centre console, as I say, from where they put in the card machine and printer and all the other gubbins that you have to have nowadays. And obviously they do it on the quick, they don't do it like a car enthusiast would do it. They just do it to get them through the door, you know, get them out the door I should say. This is proving somewhat fiddly. Why is it not going through? Through the cable, the wiring's getting stuck for some reason. Not 100% sure why at the moment. There we go. There it is. Look at that. There we go. Wiring through. So now, look, cut my finger as well. Got blood all over the cable. Now I need to just whip this other side panel off again, this side, and get my hand in there. So I might even be able to get it from the other side, but whichever way around, I need to put the socket on. You can see it's got like a twisty collar, which just obviously undoes. You poke it through and wind it up from the bottom. So yeah, we'll thread that over the cables like that. In fact, we've got to untape that yet as well. We'll untape that, I'll get set up again and I'll come back to you. Okay, I've just plugged this in temporarily, just to obviously make sure it works before we go any further and get it all in the dashboard. So we'll just switch the ignition on. It should start glowing red, hopefully. Yep, there we go. So we've got power to that now. Look, you see it's glowing red in there. I'm just going to plug in this lead like that and plug it into my phone. You probably hear it beep on the camera when it should be charging. I don't know if you heard it beep, but it is charging. It's just come up on the screen charging, so that is all good to go. So we'll get that put in the hole, as it were, and get it looking all marvellous. Let's carry on. Okay, after a little bit of fettling, I found out when I tried to put this in the hole that it didn't actually fit quite in that hole, but I've just had a little bit of a file, just used a semi-round normal file and just gone around it a few times, and now it fits nice. So I've actually found a gap as well I can get my hand into, get the cables through, which is a lot easier. And we can get, I've put the collar on the cables already, so that's collar's underneath already. The black goes to the negative obviously, and the one with the purpley colour stripe goes to the positive. That's how it worked before. And that should just go straight in there now, and we should better wind that down. It'll look like factory with any luck. Now I'm just wondering, do I leave that little flappy bit on there or not? Because that's going to really annoy me. I'll leave it on there for now. If it annoys me, I have to take it off again. But I should be able to get to the collar on the cable, with luck, and wind it on. Bit of a fiddle, obviously, because you can't see, and there's loads of things under here that are in the way. Hopefully we'll get a start on it, which I have. There we go, that's a start on it. So just be able to wind that on, and it should be all good. And that'll be a nice little addition to the cab then, because it means I've got extra charging for, I've got like a secondary card reader which I have in the cab in case the one that's built in goes wrong, which obviously needs charging up, which is via a USB, and also my phone, which is obviously needs charging up whilst I'm out, because I've got the secondary card reader uses the phone as like an app to type in the amount and whatever else, and also I use it for the apps, because believe it or not, black cabs do have hailing apps now. So if you're in London and you need a black cab and you can't find one, you can go on My Taxi, which I think is now called Free Now, or you can go on Get, G-E-T-T, and you can order or hail a black cab effectively from wherever you are, and they'll come to you. Right, that's in. Let's just put that ignition on again, make sure it lights up. Yeah, we've got the red light, so we are good to go with that. That's lovely. On to the next job then, which is the phone holder. Now the phone holder, this is the one that I had in my original cab, and it was actually screwed to the side of the dashboard. I know I don't particularly like screwing things to dashboards, but you do find in the cab, because it is quite rattly, the suction ones fall off, and the old one in my old cab was mounted there. And this dashboard has actually got a load of gunk and glue and stuff where something's been stuck to it before there, so I'm going to screw it to it again. I'll cover that mark up. You can't actually see in the camera there, that would help, wouldn't it? Let me show you. There, you can see it's all covered in gunk. And this, in my old cab, used to screw on the side there like that. Obviously this bit's not wrapped the right way at the moment, but that's how it used to screw on. So I'm going to fashion something there, so it's in exactly the same position as what I'm used to, hopefully. So I'll come back to you in a minute when I've worked out what I'm going to do. Let's carry on. Okay, as luck would have it, that phone holder is right over that big lump of glue on the back of there, which is in the right position. You can see I've put my card machine in, my newer card machine, which is like an iPad type. It's not an iPad, but it's like a tablet type thing, which obviously gives you the fares and whatever. And I needed to make sure that that cleared the phone when the phone's in the cradle, and I've rerouted that cable as well. You can see it's coming through the dash now, before it's just coming along the side and up to that unit. So I'm going to probably try and stick that to the corner of that dash, so it sticks in the corner in some way. I'm not sure yet, might even just use a little bit of blue tack, but I guess that's where the phone holder is going to go. So I've got some stainless steel screws down there. Unfortunately they're not black in that box down there, but they are, let me show you, they are quite nice screws, just stainless steel ones. So I'll use some of those. I know it's a bit of a hack drilling into the side of a dashboard, but if you look at the bracket that's on there for the thing, they don't give a monkeys about it. So I'm kind of following suit a little bit, and you can see down there the old hole in the bulkhead there where the old card machine used to be, and you can see that's got a massive hole in it as well. That's where they put the new printer now. See a little printer on there, my little Jiminy Cricket, reminds me of my dad. That's why I keep that in here. And I've got the machine in the back there. You can't really see it, but it's there anyway. So I want to set you up on a tripod the other side, and we'll get this screwed on. Let's carry on. There we go, all mounted on there. Seems pretty strong. I'm gonna go nowhere. Again, I know I don't like drilling into things, but kills two birds with one stone. It covers up all that manky glue, fixes my bracket on nice and strong, and yeah, that's it. And there's already loads of other holes in the cab anyway, so we're not going to worry too much about it. So next job now is, what is the next job now? Oh, there's another job I've forgotten actually. I want to put on the steering wheel, I want to put one of those sort of twiddly knobs that goes on the steering wheel. My wife Gemma got me one because I sometimes struggle with my hands, with a bit of the old arthritis starting, and thought it might be a bit easier to spin the wheel around if I had one of those handles on the steering wheel. So I'm going to try one of them out. I've never tried one before, so we're going to put that on as well. So maybe make that the next job, and then after that we'll probably do the cameras. Let's carry on. Right, this is the thing I'm talking about. I call it a steering aid. So an old man, don't know, I'm getting this. Still, if it makes it easier to spin the wheel around when I'm pulling a Yuri or whatever, then it's all good. So let's get around the driver's side and we'll fit this on. Hopefully that will make life a bit easier. The steering isn't the lightest on these cabs sometimes, and especially if you're spinning it around in town and it's a tight space or whatever, that may come in handy. So if it don't, I'll take it back off again, but we'll see how we get on with it. Another jobbed. So we're on to actually I've just thought of another job I want to do. The radio, when you put the radio on in the cab and you switch on the intercom, which is that switch there, so you can talk to passengers in the back, it cuts the radio out. Now in my old cab that had been modified so that the radio stayed on, so you could obviously listen to the radio whilst talking to the passengers in the back. So I want to have a look at that, because it's really annoying that you can't have the radio on and talk to people in the back at the same time. So I'm going to have a little look and see what needs disconnecting as far as from this switch and the radio, and get rid of that connection. Hopefully it will stay on all the time then. I think I'll probably do the cameras first though, because that's going to be quite an important job to get that sorted out. It's just for safety side of things, because you know what it's like in London. It's a bit cutthroat sometimes on the roads, so it always pays to have a little bit of camera protection. Let's carry on. Okie doke, this is the camera that I use in the cab, made by Blackview. It's a HD front and rear camera. You can see them in there. That's the front and the back one. Obviously the front one's the bigger one, back one's a smaller one, and it has power via this cable, which is a normal cigarette lighter cable, as you can see there. That goes to the main camera in the front, and then there's another cable which runs from the main camera in the front to the rear camera, and then obviously that powers the rear camera and gives you the feed as well. So we need to get these mounted on the screen, which is pretty easy. These just have got sticky pads on them. I'm probably going to change them over because there's extra spare ones in the box. We'll stick them on, and then we've got to route the cables through. It's as simple as that. Let's carry on. There we go, pretty nice neat install there. Little camera right behind the mirror, so when I'm driving can't really see it. You can just see the two cables coming out there, going along the headlining into the pillar, obviously coming down for the power cable and down to the cigarette light socket there. And the other one, as you saw, goes right way back to the back, and you couldn't really see it in the video. I'll just show you. I've actually put the camera down the bottom so no one can hopefully tamper with it. You see it's down there, so that will give me a nice view of the back. Hopefully I'll obviously have to look at the cameras on my app and set the levels up so that they're filming at the right level, and you can see people's number plates and whatever else, just in case it's needed. So yeah, that's another good job done. Another job that I've just thought of, which is the one of the rear door locks keeps sticking shut for some reason. So I've got to sort that out as well, because obviously I don't want to be in a situation where someone tries to get out and can't get out. So that's another job on the list. Keep going, and I started off with 3 jobs and I've ended up with about 7. So there we go. Let's carry on. Another little job I've just done. I found in the box for the cameras that had these little cable clips with sticky pads on the back. So I've used 2 of them now to neaten up this cable for the power lead for the card machine. So it looks nice and neat now. Now I'm going to have a big clear up over here because I've got stuff everywhere. I am going to get some cable ties. I'm going to tidy up all that wiring a bit that they've lashed in there, because I didn't like that very much at all. Can't just leave it. So I'm going to get set up around there, get all that cable tied up, and then we can put that side panel that's out there on the floor back in again. Lovely jubbly. Let's carry on. I'm going to share with you a little tip. If you've got a brand new packet of cable ties, most people will just open them at the end. Now my friend Alex told me about this, and it's the stupidest little thing, but open the packet in the middle there, put a little slit in it or a little tear, because that way you can pull the cable ties out, but they don't all fall out of the packet when you throw the packet on the floor. I know it's a silly little thing, but always open your cable ties from the middle. It's such a good idea. Right, let's get this mess tidied up. There we go, that's all cable tied up now, all the way along. Looks a bit neater, not perfect, but I'm not going to get involved with all their wiring, because obviously they did that and it works, so I'm leaving it alone. Now I'll get this side cover put back on, and we can carry on with the next job. Let's crack on. Okay, got a nice bucket of soapy water here, which has got turtle wax, zip wax in it, and I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to be using a clay bar to start with, which gets off all the contaminants off the paintwork, sap, tree stuff, birds mess, all that sort of thing. Anything that gets stuck to the paintwork, this gets off, and then it'll give us a nice clean surface to do machine polishing with. And I did have to stop for a little while because it poured down the rain. But I'm going to crack on with this now. We may not get it all done today, but at least I'll get a start on it. Let's crack on. Just thought I'd cut in quickly. You saw me obviously doing the roof there. Now I usually do the clay bar in when it's wet, because it's easier than wetting it, drying it and wetting it again. And you can see by that was white when I started. It's now green and black. So that was just off the roof. So it just shows you how much this clay bar does actually pick up. It's amazing really. So you wash it normally and you think, oh yeah, that's clean. It isn't. Believe me, it isn't. So that's got loads of crud off of it. So basically I'm going to carry on around the whole cab like that, and then obviously lever it off. I'm going to lever it off panel by panel so it doesn't go smeary, and then we can get on to some polishing hopefully. Let's crack on. Just so I would show you the difference quickly, before and after washing stroke clay barring. You can see that door, obviously it's quite dirty where it's been either sitting over the road or say being used for mountain bike courier service. And you can see the shine on it once it's been washed and clay barred, and that's before I've even polished it. or waxed it, and I'm just looking at it and I'm wondering actually whether it even needs a machine polish, because it paintwork on it's actually in pretty good nick. I may do it anyway just to be on the safe side. As you can see, I've done all up this side. It's still drying off, that's why it's got a few marks on it, you can see in the reflection. But you can see the difference to the back. It's not looking too bad. Well, this side is. State of that comparison. So I'm not going to bother time lapsing anymore of me clay barring, because obviously you've seen that and it's pretty self-explanatory really. You basically just wash the panel down, make sure you get all the grit and everything off of it, and while it's still wet go over it with the clay bar in all different directions to make sure you get any contaminants off. And as you can see now in there, I keep the clay bar in the bucket, and I've got a grit guard in the bottom of this bucket so it won't be sitting in the grit, but you can see the colour of it. It really does show all the contaminants that are on the paintwork, when obviously inside it is still clean. So you just sort of try and squeeze it, manipulate it every now and then so that all the dirt gets absorbed inside the clay bar, and you end up with a nice clean outside again. So let's crack on with this. I'm not sure whether I'm going to get it polished tonight, because as you can see it's getting dark and it looks like it's going to rain. So we'll do all we can. Everything's good, it's all a step in the right direction. Let's carry on. Rightio, this is what we're going to be using on the cab. This is my machine polisher. We've got the waffle head on it, which hopefully will not cause any swirl marks, and we're just going to use a Finesse-It, which is like a polish rather than a compound, because there's no actual marks on the bodywork of the cab. It is just to get a nice shine on it. So we're just going to use that with a soft pad, buff it off after with a microfiber, and then we'll go over it with a coat of wax. And we'll do it panel by panel as we go around the cab. It is the next day now. I'm going to have to lever it off because it has rained a little bit here and there. Lever it off panel by panel, polish it, buff it off, wax it, buff it off. Job done. Let's crack on. And that is how we do that. I think you'll agree. That looks pretty shiny. Machine polish, carnauba wax, which I used in Maguire stuff. I used the Armour All tyre foam on it, which you would have seen in the time lapse. And that looks mint. hopefully I'll get lots of work in it and people will want to get in a nice clean cab. That'll be good. It passed its MOT yesterday, so that's all good as well. First one I've had done in it since I've had it. So yeah, well chuffed for that. You can't really see it very well this side, it's a bit dark. It is getting dark out in now. Yeah, I think we're back in business. Lovely jubbly. Right then, we're all done. Cab's ready to roll, the yellow lights on, and hopefully I'm back in business. So another video complete for you. The only job I haven't completed on this that I said about in the video is the rear door lock, which appears to its own accord have started working again. So at the minute I'm going to leave well alone. I just want to say obviously thanks again for watching. I do appreciate it. It's Thursday night at the moment, so I'm trying to get this video out for you tomorrow on Friday night. That's when I usually put my videos out, Friday at 6. So if you're new to my channel and you haven't already subscribed, hit that button down there and the notification bell. It will tell you whenever I upload a video. I'm hoping next week's video is going to be on my newest purchase, which is, well, I won't tell you what it is yet. We'll have to wait and see for the thumbnail when it pops up on your screen. But it is going back to the classics, and I'm hoping it's going to be a popular video. So that's something to look forward to, hopefully for you. So if you want to join me again for more automotive adventures, I'll see you all again soon on the next one. Cheers guys.